live from the live.
The live.
So much, and what is going to draw people? Like, there's too much going on.
There is a lot going on. They're not going to know which.
They're going to have to pick which one to watch.
Which live to watch.
Our three fans
We'll
are going to be divided, maybe one each.
Yeah. I'm down for the competition right now.
You'll probably. I only have like 60 people that actually have their notifications on my channel. So the chances of getting all 60 are not very good.
Oh. All right. What's up, everybody?
We're about to start our episode.
We're getting ready to start an episode with Dan Magano.
Hey.
He's here. He's hanging out. Rob made sure all of his Sumatran short tails didn't all have hemipenes. So.
Yeah.
Finally for once.
Don't talk about it until we start the episode.
Yeah.
You're not recording yet.
Sorry. All right, so you know the deal. Just like behind the scenes shit for a minute while we get the last few things set up.
What's up, guys? I'll address you while he's addressing his live.
Yeah, that's right.
We're in a competition, so you have to hang. I got to reconnect.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Hey!
Oh!
All right.
We're back. I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right, can you, Dan, just bring your mic a little closer to you? Cool. That should be better.
Right, I'm talking to it a little bit.
I know. Wouldn't you rather move it further away from me?
No, actually.
Then people don't hear me the whole episode and your ratings go up.
No.
Jesus.
That's not how that works.
That's not how it works. All right, we're at 13.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'm still at 5.
Damn! Catch up, motherfucker!
Whatever. That's 5 out of 60. That's pretty good.
That's true. Okay. All right, I think we're good to start.
So he's going to run down.
What's up, everybody?
I just can't understand what could be more important in people's lives.
Don't forget the metronome.
Oh, yeah. That's right. All right, here we go. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm Creeping It Real.
And tonight,
we have a very special guest.
An in-studio guest.
An in-studio guest that we're doing live on Instagram. So make sure you're following us at reptile.talk on Instagram, because you can see some occasional episodes like this live while it's happening.
That's right.
So who do we got on tonight, Jeremy?
We got Mr. Dan Magano is in the building. What's up, dude?
I am here.
He's here.
The crowd goes wild.
It's just that one guy.
Yeah, it's just that one guy.
Oh, it's just like baseball. You guys gonna give me like a cardboard cutout or something, you know?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's for COVID.
Dude, when I was down in North Carolina, the first trip I took down, my friends turned on the Mets game, and right behind home plate was just cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is
going on right
the,
now?
the first time they did it, they put like some of the players put their dogs in the seat, so it was like cardboard cutouts of their dogs.
Oh, really?
And so the Braves were playing the Mets, and one of the players hit a home run, and it hit like Jess McNeil's dog. So it was like a big joke, you know. Whatever.
Oh no!
But then they were charging people. I saw LSU was charging people like $50 to have a cardboard cutout in the stands.
Yeah.
And I said I would totally do it if I had $50, but I want an unobstructed view. Like, I'm not paying $50 for my
be
cardboard
behind
cutout to not see anything. You know?
Oh my gosh.
So
that's
Dan,
amazing.
you came up here today for one reason and one reason only.
The Reptile Talk podcast.
Yeah, obviously.
Not to have me touch your snakes.
Yeah. Rob loves to violate my snakes, to be clear.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
but you produced some really nice short tails this season, and you brought up. So was that your last clutch for this season?
Yeah, yep. That's the last one.
Little Sumatra short tails, and they are black, so impossibly black. Good for you. Good for you. Little hot tub time machine. Actually didn't get cursed this clutch. You actually got a decent amount of females.
This is like a first in the past, I don't know how many years. Because my incubator, we were joking around that snakes could be like temp determined, because my incubator was a sausage fest for like 4 years running.
Pretty much.
But this is the first clutch in a while that was female heavy, which is nice because it's a clutch that I really needed to be female heavy, so I'm not complaining at all. It was worth the wait.
And now, how many are going to be holdbacks?
You know, it's tough because there's only 9, and there's the one baby obviously that's kinked that will not be a holdback for obvious reasons. So I'm thinking of at least keeping 2.2, maybe 2.3. I have some obligations. Honestly, I would like to just keep everything, but I made some promises. Yeah. There's a few people out there, you know, my friend Jesse, April, and Kara. You know, I've promised stuff too. So if they back out, then it's more holdbacks for me. But I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah.
Most people don't really back out of Sumatrans, so.
No. Especially the nice ones, like, yours are already black. Like, a lot of Sumatrans, they hatch out and they're like, oh, you're like a little bit dark. And these things are already so impossibly black, and it's like
Yeah.
they're just gonna get better as they get bigger. So you know,
That's true.
you can't let those go. Oh, wait,
No,
what
and every year I let some go. And I'm like, why?
Why did I do that?
And especially because like the market for them is so great. Like it's not. I don't ever have a problem selling them. I just can't produce enough. Is the only problem that I have.
Yep.
So I'm trying to hold back more, and then everybody's like, "Well, stop holding them back." It's like, well, if I hold back more, then
I can make more.
Yeah, I can make more, and then everybody wins.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
that's how I feel with my Borneos. I was like, I'll keep back a couple, and then I'm like, I'll just keep back
Man,
half.
Listening
of
to
the
Rob's
babies.
plans for holdbacks and
Oh.
then witnessing Rob's plans
Yeah.
for holdbacks are
Yeah.
two very different things.
Right.
I'm embarrassed.
He was like, no, I only want to hold back maybe 1 or 2 males, and then maybe like 2, maybe 3 or 4,
He's like, I'm gonna hold back
depending on
this
what they
entire
look like.
clutch.
Yeah, and then he's like, I sold like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I think I'm keeping the rest. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you sure, buddy?
I literally looked at my board market again, and I was like, oh, I've only got like 5 things for sale or something like that. I was like,
It's hard.
I thought I
man.
had more for sale. I guess it's all holdback.
Guess not.
I Borneos are the hardest for that too because they're so polygenic. It's like every single baby you could convince yourself there's a direction to go in with that baby. And like even the most like rudimentary wild type looking one, it's like, well, it's got a funny pattern, or well,
A little bit of a
there's
reverse
this-
stripe,
yeah,
or
there's
yeah.
this
Yeah.
going on, or you know that color's a little off from the norm. What could I do with that?
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have at my house right now because I'm a pretty streamlined person, all things considered, but Borneos really make that tough. Because I have like 17 different directions with Borneos, and I'm like, I have animals that I'm raising that I don't even know what I'm gonna breed it to. I'm like hoping something hits me one day, because I'm like, well, this is perfect, and I just need this.
I know it when I see it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna know what animal goes with that.
Yeah.
Astra is my Achilles heel, man. I still can't find anything. That male that you have is probably the closest I've seen Rob Ballantyne's male, that dark.
Yes.
I keep trying to convince him. I'm like,
Me-
just send it to me on
me
loan. He's
too.
like, well, send her to me on loan. I'm like, no.
No.
We're both just
Yeah.
at an impasse there.
Yeah.
Because that would be perfect.
Yeah.
I message him on a pretty regular basis. I'm like, if you're looking to move that line, it's so dark. I'm just saying I got some stuff I can do.
Yeah.
And then you think in your head, you're like, I really like Rob and Jessica because they're both great people.
Yes.
It's like, maybe they just fall like a slightly hard time where you gotta part with that snake, and you're like, I'm a bad person for thinking that.
Jesus,
But
Dan.
that's what goes through your head.
Rude.
You're like, and then they could get babies and start
Yeah,
over.
I'll hook him back the fuck
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a bad person in case anybody was unaware at this point in time.
But make
No,
sure
I
that you
do.
follow
For
him on
the-
Instagram at
Yeah.
Amagano
I
Snakes.
really
Yeah.
don't want anything bad to happen to either one of them. They're wonderful people.
I just want to be able to hook him up with cool snakes.
And if you do talk to them, always ask them which one of the twins is older because they love that question.
But Dan, you don't just have short tails. You also work with a variety of other things. I heard that you hate white lip pythons and all the
They hate me.
pythons.
It's different. I actually love both species a great deal. Olives, I will admit, like everybody built them up so much. Like they're so super intelligent, and it's not that they aren't, but I think people built them up so much that I put them on this pedestal that like just doesn't exist. And then I got mine, and I'm like, I don't see anything in them where I feel like they're smarter than the short tails. You know, and I think short tails are fairly intelligent snakes, so I'm not dissing their intelligence by any means, but I don't see like that, wow, you know, where you're working with a king cobra and you're like, wow, look at the motor turn, you know?
Right.
You know, you're working with a monitor or something like that. Like, I don't see that with olive pythons.
It's just food.
Yeah. It's like, you might
Warm.
be food. Oh, you
Yeah.
weren't food before, but today,
But today, now, 5 minutes after,
you know
you're
what?
food.
I think you're food.
Let's just test it. Let's just.
Yeah.
And then my white lips couldn't be further apart in personality. My male is like completely awesome. I just recently moved him into a cage from a tub, and I was like really nervous about that because
Yeah.
they're so cage defensive to begin with, and they're so nervous. But it actually seems to have worked in the right direction for
Really?
him.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, he ate the first time I offered in there, which was a big deal because white lips are one of those snakes where if they're not happy, they're like, no, I'm not eating.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
not
exactly.
gonna eat. So he ate the first time, and then handling him, he didn't even musk me taking him out, which I was impressed. I mean, I used the hook to just grab him initially because he was in the back.
Yeah,
You know, it's one of those snakes where if I just reach in and grab him, he's going to probably bite me.
yeah.
But he's great. I take him outside. I can put him in the grass. I can leave him down for 10 minutes, pick him up. Like there's nothing.
That's cool. Yeah.
My female.
The big beast.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to turn on the lights in the house. I'm not allowed to breathe.
She's got your wallet. She's got your nuts
Yeah.
on a jar on the shelf.
Basically, yeah. It's like
And
being,
she's big.
yeah, she's big.
Yeah.
She's one of the biggest white lips that I've ever seen. I finally got her out after 2 years for pictures, and like people that saw this picture, I don't know if you saw it or not.
Oh,
but
I saw
she
it.
did,
she's
yeah,
big.
yeah.
She's beefy.
massive,
She's big.
yeah.
I don't know how. Everybody's like, well, how long is she? I'm like, if you want to come measure her, you can. But
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sticking that string on her mouth because I know where that ends.
Yeah. Oof, yeah.
But
Measure the shed, take off 20%.
Yeah.
There you go.
she's definitely over 8 feet. She may even be pushing 9, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because her head is enormous, which white lips have big heads, but she's probably a 10-plus-year-old animal, so her head's really big. Especially because
I
white
want to
lips.
hold her.
Yeah, you can
It's
come
such
over
a bad
anytime.
idea, but I want to hold her.
You know what? If she's in the shift box and you take her outside, she's not bad because she's out of her element. Like
Yeah.
most white lips, once you remove them from the cage, they're different animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still more nervous and more flighty than a lot of species.
Or my scrubs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's pretty similar in that regard. I think scrubs might be slightly. I don't know if they're more reactive, but I feel like I don't know. It's just a little different, but it's similar. But they're one of those snakes where all of a sudden they go behind you and grab you in the elbow because something spooks.
Yeah,
up, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So I was cautious when I had her out, and I actually used the hook in one hand and my hand in the other just to kind of get a feel for her. But she really was pretty good outside.
That's good.
But I wonder 4 or 5 times from now outside when she's like, all right, this is my jam now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Things may be different. So I made sure I got a picture when I had her out there. I'm like, I'm gonna need to document this.
Yeah.
And I'll just Photoshop myself
Dan
into a
comes
different
back
shirt.
and it's like,
you know?
I held the white lip the other day.
Pretty much. Do you keep venomous snakes? No.
No, she just got me good.
Yeah.
Lost a finger to the white.
And I've heard they have like the most teeth of any python species, which I have not been bitten, knock on wood.
Oof.
But
I've
I
been bitten
don't
by
know
white
if that's
lips
true or
before.
not.
I've only been bitten by small ones. I think
Yeah.
the biggest one I was ever bitten by was maybe like 3.5 feet.
Yeah, 3 foot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was.
Yeah, she has a head
It was
like
enough.
I would say
Yeah.
like a 9 to 10 foot like mainland retic head on her.
Oof.
So when with bigger teeth and whatever, like I really don't. I'm not one of those people who's like, I don't want to get bit, but I don't want to get bit by her.
Yeah.
She's the only snake that like I sweat when she starts getting moody. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
here it comes. Here
That's
it comes.
fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I know she knows, and like
She's like,
I've
"That's
accepted the fact that I am a part of the problem.
Yeah.
I can't fix it, you know. She
Yeah.
still gets my number.
That's awesome.
At least you're aware of it, though.
Yeah.
So many people would just be like, "I'm gonna smother it with love until it loves me." It's like, no, I'm part of the.
Well,
Part
not
of the
only that,
process.
but I think to that point, a lot of keepers don't understand that sometimes certain snakes are just meant to be snakes and they're just meant to be looked at from afar.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't need to be hands-on. It's nice to have them be hands-on for the pet aspect and
Yeah, yeah.
if they need veterinary care or whatever it might be, but you know, sometimes we have to accept the fact that certain snakes are just never going to cross a certain point. They're going to hit a wall, and that's it for them. And so that's why I did the shift box with her. It's just less stress on her. It's less stress on me, but more so for her. Like, you know, if I have to get her
Right.
out, I'll get her out.
Yeah, yeah.
But if
yeah.
I can get her out without her having to, you know, stress out and musk and strike the glass 22 times, like
Yeah, yeah.
that's a huge benefit for her.
100%.
And so I've been working with her slowly, and I need to get back on it because I haven't done it much lately. But teaching her that if she goes into the shift box on her own, that we can just have a peaceful interaction. And they're smart snakes, so
Yeah.
after a couple times she was doing it a little bit better, but now I haven't worked with her as much. And that's one thing I found with white lips is like the repetition is important with them.
Yeah.
Like a short tail, you get a short tail tame, I could probably leave the thing in the cage for 2 years, come in, pick it up, and the personality is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the white lips, I find when you get them to a point, you have to keep working with them at that point consistently. If you drop back, then they kind of regress.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
even my male is super tame, but if I don't take him out for a week or two, he starts to get like more and more antsy when I do take him out. If I take him out once to twice a week consistently, I don't have any
He's
issues
good.
with him. Yeah.
So what do you think they are on the like intelligence level thing? Because like the only snakes that I like non-venomous snakes that I think of as like super smart are scrubs. And I'm sure Papuans are pretty smart too. I've seen them
Yeah.
kind of looking like they're, you know, assessing
They seem to
situations
know
and
what's
stuff
going
like.
on,
Yeah, they
yeah.
know what's going on. Where do you think that white lips kind of fall on that?
You know, I want to say that they're very intelligent, but then like it's been 2.5 years and she still bashes her face off the glass, and like you wonder, but it's tough too because I think the biggest problem is we all have a standard of intelligence in our head, and we want to just uniformly put it across all reptiles. And I know like keeping parrots, like macaws and cockatoos are both very intelligent, but their intelligence is different. Macaws are more vocal and learning stuff like that, whereas a cockatoo could take apart And I think a lot of reptiles are that way too, and everybody just wants to see whatever. But I do think that they definitely have owner recognition. Like, she knows the difference between me and a stranger. And I think a lot of the species that I work with are like that. And I can't tell you, some snakes I feel like it's visually based, some I feel like it's scent based, and that's just kind of a feel over the years. I don't know the science behind it with which is dominant in each species, but they all have an order of operation, so to speak, on what they go to in situations. But I do think that they're very intelligent snakes, especially like the male. I can see, and even the female, I can see progress from one session to the next, where it's clear that they're going, oh, okay, this is this again, and building on that.
It clicks in the brain.
Yeah. So the only part that
Did it disconnect again?
yeah.
Oh no.
I wonder how long I haven't looked over there. Sorry, guys.
I think we're still
one
winning.
person's hanging in there.
Yeah, we're dual live streaming, guys. For those of you who are just listening to the podcast and not watching,
Let me see.
we're hanging at 15. Oh, you even got a super chat.
I did, and I didn't even notice it, so I'm looking at it right now. So I think
Damn.
thank you, Adam. Oh, it went away, so I can't see it, and I'm terrible at this.
Oh no, the technology.
Technology is not my thing. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, I have not been watching over there. Thank you very much for that.
Boom.
Adam and I talk quite a bit through YouTube and Instagram and things, and even on Facebook. But
That's cool.
Definitely a good dude.
Bam.
So anyhow, so we were talking about the scent thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
African rock pythons, I have tamed every single African rock I've ever worked with via scent training. I cannot tell you, I know the science works, but I can tell you that I know I've been bitten one time by an African rock python in almost 20 years.
I've been bit more by African pythons.
I used to keep a lot of
Yeah.
them. I used to have like over a time.
Sheesh.
And I even took on some that were nasty, and it worked for me. I wore an old shirt around the house for a couple of days. Once I let the snakes settle in for a couple of weeks into their enclosure, I then used my shirt as substrate, and I just left it be for a while, just did water changes, whatever. And then, to me, it's just one less thing when you go in the cage now. Now they're not thinking, oh my God, it's a different scent, it's a different site. It's one thing they can just eliminate. And I do find they're very visual as well. I know, like, the one that I have now, if somebody new comes into the room, she's on them and she wants to kill them. And it's like, she's great with me. I mean, I can take her out and do whatever I want with her. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
I got in an argument with this guy one time. I was like, dude, I can literally do anything to that snake. I said, I can give her a noogie right now. He's like, you can't give a noogie to an African rock.
And you're like,
I opened her cage. I did not even use a hook or anything. I just reached in my bare hand and like scratched her head like this, and she just sat there. And he's like, are you kidding me? I had a live video with him. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I worked with her. I'm at that level now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she has like certain rules that she's established that I have to follow. And she does not like to be removed from her enclosure. She likes to come out on her own. Easy enough. And she does. Like, it's not like I have to, once in a while, if I'm busy, I'm like, come on. Like, touch her with the hook a little, like, come on, let's speed it up. But she likes that. If I let her come out on her own, she's great. If I don't, she'll coil around my arm as like tight as she can. She'll turn my arm purple and black, like so tight. She won't bite me, but she'll let me know like this does not work.
This is not how we do it.
So she's trained me probably more than I've trained her. But it's funny, and I listened to the episode where you guys were talking with Savannah, and she was talking about that, which is so true, where we have these relationships that we build with animals, and we know what our criteria is, but we don't know what theirs is. We just assume. And so you could have a great relationship for 15 years, and one day you cross a line that you don't realize you crossed, and the animal lets you know, like, no, this doesn't work.
Yep.
So you always have to be aware that that's what's going on. And people are like, oh, it turned on you. It's like, well, it's not turned on you. You crossed the line that you didn't know was there, but that's your fault. It's not the animal's fault. It's communicating to us. We just don't know how to read everything that it's
Exactly.
telling us.
I think that one part, I mean, that whole episode was great, but I think that one
very
part
key.
of that is like huge.
Yeah.
And something that a lot of keepers, even keepers who have been keeping for a while, don't fully grasp, especially if they only work with a handful of different species that are fairly typical and common to see in the industry and pretty easy to deal with. They get into a situation with a species they're unfamiliar with, and they're like, it's just whatever. But those terms are totally different with that species.
Well, that's like, it's always weird to me when you go and you handle somebody else's snake. Like, I'm more uneasy with, even if it's a species that I know really well, like I have no rapport established with that animal. So I know that the level that it's going to tolerate is less with me than it's going to tolerate with you. And it's funny, like I've sold you snakes that were great with me, and they were
And
horrible
then
with
they
you.
hate me.
Yeah.
They hate
And it's
my
a species,
guts.
it's a species you're very well versed with.
I know
probably
how to hold
as much
them.
or more so than me.
Yeah.
And it's
Ugh.
just still. And then I remember I did that program with Josh when he was at Nerd.
Yes.
With his Tegu, and it like bugged out on me just because I'm holding it different than how he holds it.
Yep.
But I wasn't doing anything wrong as far as procedural. But to that animal, like this is different, this is bad.
Yeah.
And that was a totally tame animal that's great with him that just was like no. And
Yep.
then he took it back and it just sat there and made me look like a total
Yeah.
idiot. You know? But that happens.
Don't let him hold the tegus. It's
Yeah.
a bad thing.
Yeah. You know, and you just don't know what part of what you're doing. Like we always tell people with short tails, like, oh, support their body, and then I'll carry like 3 in one
Just
hand.
like,
And
I got it on one hand. We're cool,
Yeah.
dude.
And they're totally fine
They're
because
chill,
they
yeah.
know me and they know like
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden, a new person does that, and I'm like,
Oh,
no,
and then
no.
they start helicoptering their
Yeah.
tail like all
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
and then they start peeing, and I'm like, no, to support. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
yep.
You've been pissed off.
It's literally do as I say, not as I do. And
Yes.
You feel like a parent when you're giving people snake advice because
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes.
because it's a lot of what it is I'm doing this because I know the animal.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted the other day, I don't know if you saw, but I was laughing at all those people that were giving Matt Wright crap. Like he's working with the crocodiles, and they're all like, you're becoming way too complacent. It's like, I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most at ease people I've seen working with crocodiles, and the way they respond to him is different than a lot of other people I've seen. There's some great people. I know Gatorland has some people down there that are pretty good with it.
Yes.
Mark or Mike or
Mike.
Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah.
he's pretty good with stuff like that
He
as
is
well.
good, but he still knows when it's time to run. You run.
It's
Don't
time
turn
to run.
around. Run.
Yeah, dude, that was when we were understanding reptile intelligence, really pushing the boundaries of what we can do with monitor lizards and crocodilians and stuff like that. Like, he just joined the live stream, but I'll give a shout out to Bruce from the Reptarium, who's been like working a lot with the monitors over there. The biggest thing that always stands out to me is their night Nile, Abasuku, big black Nile monitor, but they can just go right in and take it out, and it's for the most part that's a species that is known to be.
I worked with a Nile years
super
ago
hellish.
that was great.
Yeah.
And it's like few and far between. Most of them
Far
are
between.
assholes.
Yeah.
Like they want to kill you on sight. But we had one. He was big too, and just great. You know, the only thing you had to be careful. He had like a kiddie pool in there for him to go in. And we used to have volunteers that loved to like throw rodents in there for him. So if you're cleaning and you're moving your fingers around, you'd
It's like,
but I used to just keep like a paper towel roll and just touch his nose, and that was enough to let him know, like, okay,
no food.
No
is coming
food.
in. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could go right in the enclosure with them, sitting there, scrub, clean, care. You could pet
I
them.
didn't care. Yeah.
It was great.
That's really great when you were able to have enough of a connection with the animal where they can just do their thing.
Yeah.
You being in their enclosure or around their enclosure means absolutely nothing to them.
Yes.
You know, that's so key.
I terrified a friend of mine one day. I had this kid, and he used to always come just to try to borrow money from me, and he was not familiar with reptiles at all. So he came in one day, and I had that particular monitors. He had like double doors in the front, and I had him open into his like enclosure. I was cleaning it, and he had no desire to come out. A lot of animals, if they're comfortable in their enclosure, they just stay in there.
Yeah.
And so he had no desire to come out. With the doors were open, my buddy walked in with a bag from Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "They love donuts." I'm like, "He's gonna come out here." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Where they come from, that's one of the things that they feed on is donuts." And he's like, his face is like flushed. I'm like, "Dude, do you think that there's like a donut shop out there?" Like, no. But when people don't know, it's really easy to mess with them. And it was just great. Meanwhile, you probably could have thrown the donut in front of the thing and be like, "What the hell am I supposed to do?"
Yeah, right.
You
What
know?
is this?
All of
Yeah.
a sudden it grabs
That's
and it's like
wonderful.
white rodent and
Yeah.
thrashes it,
Yeah.
That's
knocking it all over the
absolutely
place.
wonderful.
That'd be
Oh my
hilarious.
He was like terrified. I'm like, "No, I'm just kidding."
Oh, that's too good.
Unless you
great.
rolled around the chicken pen, you're good, you know.
Yeah, seriously. That's probably one of the few things I dread working at Nerd is if I have to be in the rodent room early in the day.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, I
The
don't
rest
want
of
to
the
do
day-
anything else for the rest of
Nope,
the day. in
I'm
any of
doing
the
computer
reptile
work.
rooms, man.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything with reptiles the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get chewed on.
Yeah, no, pass.
They know, and you get that smell in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you look back on like your history of bites, there's probably a third of them where you're like, "Oh yeah, I was
smells
cleaning
like
rodents
rodent,
and
or-
forgot."
Yep, exactly.
Bad.
Exactly.
So bad.
Yeah.
And olives treat you like that all the time. It's like you were just in the rodent room.
Did appetizers anyone?
It's like so do
don't
walnuts
even
and
own
blackheads
rodents.
and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
too.
They
Yeah,
just-
all
you
that.
just-
A lot of that Australian stuff is like food.
You
and
touched a rat
thank you.
6 weeks ago.
You
I
didn't
do-
You
scrub
are
under your
a
cuticles.
rat.
It's-
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
right,
cuticles.
right, exactly. Matter of fact, this tub might be a rat.
Chewing on it.
Australian stuff, man. If your Australian stuff's not eating,
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
wrong.
Then you really know something's wrong. Yeah, either it's gravid or there's something wrong.
yep.
So
Oh,
Dan,
man.
you've had a really sordid past. You didn't always just do like focus on short tails and do like the stuff you're
Sordid,
doing now.
huh?
Yes, you've had a very sordid past. You kept venomous for a while too, right?
I had a couple of venomous snakes
Yeah.
early on, which I was not supposed to have.
Shh, you lived in Pennsylvania. It was
No,
legal.
no. I mean, I would rather be honest with people and learn from mistakes. I didn't get in any trouble from it, but it was really stupid. That was like probably 14 years ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a sunset phase albino monocled cobra. I worked with a couple rattlesnakes. But that monocled cobra, that was like my baby. That was my dream snake. I had to have it.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't care. And it was really stupid on my part though, because living in Connecticut, there's no antivenom at the hospital
Nope.
for you. And
Yeah.
monocled cobra venom can act pretty fast.
Pretty fast, yeah.
So
Yeah.
had I gotten bit, there's a pretty high percentage I was at best going to lose a digit.
I was gonna say at
Worst,
least lose.
you know,
I played with the monocle cobra.
twice.
Yeah.
No.
it's metal now because
Oh,
you lost
yes.
the 2 middle fingers.
But yeah, no, I eventually got rid of that animal because I decided that, I smartened up really.
Yeah.
Because it was a very unsafe situation. And, she was fairly docile. She had her moments. Monocles can definitely
Yes.
have their days where they're just like, no, you're not coming in my cage. And she had those
Yeah.
days. I also really stupidly kept her in a vision cage. Not that vision cages
the
are
lip.
bad, but oh yeah, she would sit up there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need to get to the water, but I'm not sticking my arm in there. I
Yep.
can't quite get the dish with the hook, So there was a couple of times where she got a new water dish put in there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I can't get to that one today.
Yep. That was me with my Amazons. I made the mistake of keeping Amazon tree boas
Oh, yeah.
in vision cages
At least you're
and
not
stuff.
going
And
to die,
that
but
lip,
you're going to bleed.
yeah, exactly. It's like they're not in the plant. Oh crap! And by
Yeah.
the time you've noticed it, they've already keyed in on you,
Yeah.
and they're like, "It's going down."
Yeah, and they're not like, maybe we're going to bite. They're like, I can get them
Heat
16
signature.
times.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
it. I got it.
I remember watching like a Fear Factor episode where they were sending people in. There was a bunch of them hanging. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would do that.
Yeah,
How much
right.
money are we talking? It's got to be really good because
Yeah.
I like snakes, but that's a blood.
That sucks. Yeah. The lip of doom, man.
Yeah.
No matter what the species.
Yeah, so I definitely wouldn't do that again. I mean, you could probably keep like gaboons in there because they're not going to sit themselves up there. I wouldn't think.
You would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I did? Because when I was
Wow.
running the shop up
Yeah.
in Maine with Jason, our showroom, like our front area, the retail store,
Mm-hmm.
we used all vision cages. So what I did is I cut styrofoam inserts that fit in that lip, so nothing could get in that lip. Because I was
really
like,
good
when
idea.
I'm going through and doing water changes and feeding stuff, I don't want to have to worry about getting railed by. We had Angolan pythons, we had Amazon tree boas, we had Korean
Yeah.
tree pythons. It's like, I don't want to have to worry about sticking my hand in here. So I
Yeah.
literally just put foam all along that lip so that they couldn't get in there.
It's too bad because that shop was nice.
Yes.
I only went up there at the end, but
It was
nice even then.
we kept it really
Yeah, it was. And I've been to my share of reptile shops, and I'm not gonna name names, but there's some where you want to shower as soon as you leave,
Yeah.
and then there's some where you're like, I could eat off of that cage, and you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
We were close to that.
It depends on what I'm eating. Pizza, sure.
Yeah.
You know, cream of wheat.
Spaghetti, probably not.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man. So, what does your next breeding season look like? Because I know that you're planning some really cool stuff with maybe Ron Burgundy this upcoming season.
I'm
I just
planning it again.
Did I hurt your feelings?
Is Ron planning it is the question. And we are always at the mercy of our animals.
So Ron
True.
Burgundy's a super special red blood python that you've got.
Yeah, so it's actually the first blood python pairing that I did. And, not first short tail, but first blood python. And I only held back one male, because that's the male I want to breed, to this one female. And this one female has been sitting there ever since. for 4 years, doing nothing, just waiting for love, and he does not want to provide said love.
Damn.
I'm hoping this year is the year, and if not, I will have a come to Jesus with him. I had one with Raiden because I bred her like 3 years in a row, and she gave me nothing, and I told her like,
Oof.
you are going to be evicted and homeless if you do not
Yeah.
give me eggs, and she gave me eggs.
There you go.
So I may need to have a talk with Ron,
Yeah.
you know? And maybe it's just my fault I haven't done the birds and bees thing with him. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
confused where to go, what to do.
Yeah. You gotta
There's only
rub
one
rub the
rule, what do you-
peens.
So I might
Sometimes you
have to
just
jump
gotta
on
stroke
some
the
kind of
peens. Yeah.
educational video for him and put it on his tub, so maybe you can see what's going on. But yeah, and there's always the possibility that, you know, he is female with short tails. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens.
Was he one that I sexed?
No,
no.
you're not responsible.
Oh, it's-
I'm
You're out of it.
okay.
I always love the fact that I'm waiting for the day that you're like, this one from you, sex wrong there. Well,
Oh,
you
Hey,
checked
listen,
it.
man.
I know if it's wrong, it was probably my fault. I'm sorry for anyone who's bought snakes from Dan. If it was sex wrong in the last 3 years,
Yeah,
It was
Rob is
probably my
always
fault.
Rob is always my go-to. I feel very strongly with short tails that they should be sexed by like 2 or 3 people.
yes,
And get a consensus because they can be tough. And it's weird. You can have a clutch where it's so easy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything's obvious. And then you have the clutch where it's like 1 out of 15 is obvious and the rest are like, what the hell do I have?
yeah, yeah. That marble to marble clutch this year, they were super obvious. The girls were like
Yeah.
nothing in there, and the boys were like, wing.
Yeah.
And it's not always like that.
For
There was-
people that don't work with Australian stuff down because I have not had a ton of success with that yet.
yeah,
But I kind of need to get them cooler than I can in my house, which is the struggle with keeping multiple species where the temperatures that I need to get them down to would like kill the short tails.
yes,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I've moved some stuff around this year. I've got my male olive out in a different room. I've got my female separate in a different room. So I'm hoping that now I can
those
drop them
tails.
to where I need to go. Because if you don't get them down to like 60, it's not happening. And if you put short tails at 60 and I run a lot of ambient, like
Yeah, that's it.
not only is it
Game
not
over.
happening, they're gonna
It's
be
never happening.
freezer pets.
Yeah, it's
like,
never
no.
happening. Yeah.
So it's been difficult. So I've gotten copulation and stuff like that, but I haven't gotten her to ovulate because I'm
Yeah.
not getting him cool enough. And I'm not getting her.
I see.
cool
You should talk to. Have you talked to Jason about them?
Yeah, and he always yells at me,
Gotta get colder,
I'm
yeah.
like, I know.
Yeah, he had him, when he bred him, he literally had him against the basement wall, like the outside foundation wall. Their 6-foot
Yeah.
cages were up against that for the.
One thing I talked to Scott about
time.
when I was over at his house was like some of his stuff that he needs to get cooler and his room's too warm. He literally puts them in tubs and brings them down into like his living room
Yep.
and just sits them in there for a few hours every night or whatever. So if I have to, I can do stuff like that as well.
Yep.
Which I'll do whatever it takes this year. I'm gonna get something.
Better. I want a baby olive, just so you know.
Okay.
I actually really like olive pythons.
I do too. Like I enjoy them, but I've just accepted like the females are gonna bite and grab me. The male doesn't. He's great. I go right into his cage, just grab him out, no hook, no nothing. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The girls, if I did that,
Yep.
they already
That's-
bite and wrap me anyways when they
Yeah.
know it's not.
Yeah.
me. But if I don't make that distinction, I'm definitely getting lit up.
Yeah.
The ones that Jason had were so amazing, dude. Like they just like glide. They like float when they move. They're so
Their
agile.
skin is different too. It feels so.
It's
smooth.
so soft. They just
Yeah.
like
And it's also cool because like you can see your husbandry with those snakes.
Yes.
You can look across the room and go, you know what, I need a little more humidity in there. Humidity's a little too high. Like it's very obvious, and they're so tolerant of temperature.
yes.
I mean, they can take 60, they can take 100. Like it just doesn't.
Like it's nothing.
No.
Like it's nothing.
I've had a couple days when my room got really hot, and I came in there. I'm like, how are you like? And they're just chilling
Just
on the hot
chilling-
side.
yeah, on the hot
Yeah.
side.
You're
Yeah.
like,
I'm like, it's got 100 over there.
All the short tails are like way up in the
Yeah.
front, like sitting in the water dish. You're
Yeah.
like, oh boy. And then the olives are like, oh, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
cool. Let's
It's
chill.
It's good.
it's the challenge of keeping different species in one room. man.
Yes.
Especially trying to do ambient. Like you have to find a happy medium when you do ambient. That's why I've tried to switch some stuff off of the ambient so I can control it a little bit more.
Yeah, I just went through. So when I got some of the Freedom Breeder racks that are in my room, the triple wide racks had 11-inch heat panels, but the double wide racks had like the 4-inch heat panels, and I didn't worry about it until like this upcoming breeding season. I was like, man, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I need those 11-inch heat panels on the double wide so I can control that a little bit, especially for like like 7-8 foot carpet pythons, like a strip of 4-inch heat tape in the back. Just it ain't
What are
cutting
you,
it,
yeah,
man.
what are you gonna lay on your tail?
Yeah, exactly. It's like where the rat is digesting, that is what lays across the heat tape. So I was like, no, we're gonna do this, and it ended up working out for the better because the triple wide rack is where I have a lot of my males and stuff, and like they don't really care. I usually don't pump them heavy with food anyway, so it's like, no, there you go, you're fine.
You're fine.
You're fine. Just exist on that. But yeah, I was like, who wanted 11-inch heat panels on this triple wide rack?
I don't know.
You know, but I mean, whatever.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
So Dan, you also have spotted pythons as well.
I do. I really
How
want
do
to
you like
produce them.
those?
I love them.
Yeah,
Which
they're
is funny.
awesome.
It was, and you know, she had one other snake, so she wasn't like really in the community. So I'm like, well, let me look around and see what I can find for you. So I started looking around for her, and then I'm like, these are really cool. You know, like I had seen a few of them, but I never really thought much of it. And I happened to find a female Cape York. Unfortunately,
How about I'm
at least
sorry?
say sorry.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, he wasn't even. He didn't even care. So I will never buy from him again.
Yeah.
Simply because I didn't really necessarily ask for anything, so I can't fault him for not giving me anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
like you
But
could have
that
at least said,
response-
"Here's $25 even," or I'm so sorry. Oh my God, something. Just
Yeah.
like-
Yeah. Some recognition.
Which obviously the fact that he didn't react that way means that
He
he
knew.
probably
He knew.
has mites and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And he didn't produce the animal, so you know how it goes when you're getting.
Second. Yeah.
But I saw the mites. I always open my snake boxes outside of my house when I ship stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then if they have mites, I soak them literally out in the yard in a tub in there and set them up from there
Yeah.
in quarantine. So I never saw a mite again after that day with her because I caught it.
Yeah. Took it. Yeah. Yeah.
But she's worked out just a wonderful animal, has the best temperament. You see all these horror stories of people that are spotted biting them, like I'm talking about.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Neither of my spotted pythons have ever looked at
That's
me funny.
awesome.
No.
I'm glad because
Yeah.
I've had a lot of them chew on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The male. You remember I got the male
Yes,
at
the gray
Tinley
one.
because you guys
Yep.
brought it back for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was up at Nerd for a
Oh,
little
yeah,
while.
he was great.
He was great.
Yeah.
Like, you reach right into his cage and just pick
He
him
just
up.
came right out. He would
Like,
literally just come right up
nothing,
to you
yeah.
like
He's
nothing.
"Hey."
Yeah.
I put him in a way too big of a tub for what you would think, and like real basic for quarantine, just a water dish and paper, and you just reach right in and grab him. And he's just like, hey, like,
Yeah.
totally cool with it.
That's how when I kept in bred spotters in the past, my adults were like that. You could do whatever. My children's pythons
I've heard horror
were the
stories.
frickin' devils.
Yeah, those two.
Like I have some old photos, probably from like 10 years ago. Like
A little bit more going on.
Yeah, yeah, and then I have water pythons as well,
those are cool.
and I had one that was awesome, and she died.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to her. I mean, she was awesome. She was doing great. And then I went on a trip. I came home and she was dead. She was on ambient, so it's not like she overheated because
Yeah.
that was the first thing that I thought. And the room didn't get that hot. I mean, they don't like it hot, but it would have to
Still,
get
yeah.
into like the mid 90s to cause a problem at all. And even then, they can tolerate it. But yeah, so the adult pair that I have are flighty as hell. The female has gotten away from me at least like 4 or 5 times where like I open the tub and she just like darts into the air and she's gone. And the most recent time I used to have an African gray, so her cage is still in my living room. I've just never taken it out of it. It's been in there for years since she passed, and I just don't have the heart to move it. Like I still need it there for sentimental reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
But this rack that I keep, because I keep the Australian stuff in the living room so it's cooler, was like 6 feet away, and before I could even react, she was up into the bird cage. And I'm like, so then I'm like trying to hold on to part of her and coax her through where
Yeah.
It took me a while, but I
Dude,
got
that's
her.
always the worst.
They don't want to
man.
bite; they just want to fly.
Move. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Pee on
no,
you?
she's just flighty.
The ones that I worked with peed a lot.
They're peers, yeah.
Yeah.
I
None,
never-
none of my Australian stuff has ever peed on me, with the exception of the white lips. They haven't even peed; they just must.
Yeah.
But
I never worked with any of the water python species, but I did work with maclots.
Oh, I have
for a
those too.
while, and those
They
those things were super cool. My female, though, I'll never forget. One day I had a friend over. Wasn't really a snake guy, but was like, that thing just looks really interesting, so he wanted to see it. And she's fairly mild mannered for what Maclots are known to be, and he was just like touching it, whatever. And I saw her make
The
a little
head
twitch
move?
of the head, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna count to 3, and you're gonna move your hand really fast back to your body. and it was the first time I couldn't turn off my female retic's food response. And like usually I could go in there, tap her with a hook, no problem, good to go.
Sorry,
get her out.
guys. I don't know if the feed. I keep losing it.
Oh no, we're not losing ours.
I know.
Yeah.
Because it's your hotspot.
Yeah,
and your
right.
phone's like, this is priority.
So yeah, when I got her down here, it was like the next day I went to just check on everybody, see how everybody was doing, and she was right up at the front, and I was like, all right, whatever. I noticed like she had tipped her wall.
These Sumatran short tails are the
Yeah.
worst. They have no patience. And I have 3 or 4 of them that are still small enough where they're in my ARS rack, and it's like I could stick my hand in their face when I'm not feeding, but once they smell rats thawing in the other room, even if I'm not
It's
feeding
game
them,
over.
you're not getting in there and doing anything tonight because it's just done.
Mm-hmm. One of my Borneos is like that.
I have a few
Like,
Borneos too.
yeah, it's like as soon as the smell of rat or rodent at all enters the room, they're like,
It's time.
what?
It's mine.
Yeah.
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 It's the moment I've been waiting for.
What if it was a pinky mouse? Like, what are you doing? You're 4 feet long.
And
what
you
are you
know
doing?
it would try to eat it.
100%.
And it would be doing like an awkward
The weird
coil
yeah,
where it
yeah,
can't.
exactly. I'm killing it.
There's a few times I've like needed to get rid of something, and I'm like, all right, this is too small for you, but I'll give it to you. And you like watch them struggle, and you kind of feel bad. You're like,
Yeah,
okay.
you're like,
They're trying to get a coil on it, and they can't.
Yeah.
And like their mind just keeps like, I got a coil, I got a coil.
Yeah. They're like the death roll of just trying to coil the.
Yeah.
You're like, it's just try and eat it.
Yeah.
I'm just try.
Yeah, it's already dead. You don't even have to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
My
exactly.
berm is that way, and I know Rob is a huge berm fan. But I have to turn the lights off in the room, and I have to leave dead prey in his cage, and I have to leave because you'll hear him like 10 minutes later violently strike this item that's been in his cage for 10 minutes, has been dead for 3 months in the freezer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're known for their intelligence.
Yeah, and you just hear him like rolling around. I will say to Berm's defense, a wild caught Berm versus what
yeah.
captivity has done to them is much different.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Captivity
true,
has
yeah.
made them extremely stupid.
Yeah.
Extremely
That's
stupid.
fair. That's fair.
And I know people love Berms, and I get that, but like at some point you've got to admit, like they're not
They're
intelligent.
not, yeah.
You know, wild ones, yes, they because they have to be to survive. They're a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, like albino Berms especially, like there's an animal that was inbred so much that
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
it's bad.
Yeah.
They can count to potato.
Yeah,
They can.
they're like an old monarchy. Like they've been in the family for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
starting to show.
Yep. I've got my 4. I like my 4. That's all I got.
Yeah, the one I have was a rescue. I would have not. I'll admit, sometimes people breed Berms and I'm like, wow, that's really nice looking, and I think about it, and I'm like, I am not.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't.
not buying a Burmese python.
Yeah.
I can talk about mine and say that he's a rescue, and he was a legit rescue,
Yeah.
and he needed, some rehab and whatever, and so I just kept him.
Yeah.
But if I ever bought one, like now I have to hide who I am, leave the community, so I can't do it.
Yeah. Rob and I have an understanding. If I ever have more berms than short tails, we can't be friends anymore.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Fair.
that's fair.
That's very fair.
I don't ever plan to have more than 5 berms in my
So
life.
every time you purchase a Berm, you purchase 2 short tails. And you're covered.
Essentially, that's how I have to offset it. But luckily,
He's like, damn, a loophole.
Oh.
luckily, I know exactly. See, my thing with berms, I've kept berms in the past, but I never really wanted to get back into them until I saw where the price point was on the caramels. The caramels have always caught my attention since I was a kid.
I love caramel
So,
everything.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab that, and
Except
I
for
got a
Sumatrans.
stupid deal
Not a fan.
on a labyrinth, and I was like, oh man, caramel labs would be like the ultimate.
I won this time. You're down and
Oh
I'm
no!
out.
That's
All
the-
right,
that's the end of our
That's the end of our stream. That's
Oh.
all that is. So I was
And we
like,
didn't even tell anybody we're gone. It
that's
just
fine.
dropped,
They,
so.
they know enough. I missed the notification. But yeah, I was like, Caramel Labs would be really cool. And I was like, cool. All right, that's what I'm going to go for. And then I got my hands on an albino green that was also Het Lab. And I was like, green caramel labs would be even cooler. And then I was like, okay, you have to stop. They're going to find out you like them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't mind them, but it's just, I think part of it is kind of like ball pythons where the snakes themselves aren't as bad as a lot of people that keep them, which kind of, it forms an opinion in your head where like you're looking at the animal and you're seeing the reflection of the community sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and there's wonderful people that work with balls, wonderful people that work with berms, but it just seems like when you think about like the prototypical person, sometimes, you know, I'm picturing that guy that like intentionally sticks his arm in there to get bit by his berms, and like that's what I
big like
visualize.
plywood
Yes,
cage. Yeah.
That's what I visualize, and he's probably like a great guy or whatever. I don't know, but I just picture like that's
Rob's like,
that's
guy.
I just picture like when you're like, oh, Burmese python. That's what I'm picturing.
Yes.
You are.
Yeah.
Between that and the people that are like, look at this big poop that my snake just took. I'm
Lay it on
holding
their
this big
arm or
poop.
Squish it.
Yeah.
I will admit, like I am tempted to post that only because there's somebody that gets like so triggered by it that I just like want to trigger them more.
Is it Rob?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No.
All right.
So I do sometimes
He
think
didn't
like
know that it
God.
triggers me.
No,
Huh?
no, he does.
No.
Big
I
poop.
did. I
Big
did.
poop trigger.
I did because you've sent me like pictures before where you're like, ah!
Why is this guy doing this? I don't understand. He's laying a giant poop on his arm, and he's like, "Look at how big my berm poops." And I'm like, "Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Dude,
what?
it gets in the
Why?"
ladies.
The real
Time.
Yeah.
But before we do,
We have the final closing
the
question.
final closing question.
I've
which we
seen,
ask
I've
everybody.
listened to this how many times and I'm still not prepared.
Yeah.
So Dan, what?
I'm on YouTube and on Instagram as Dan Magano Snakes. And then I'm also on Facebook, but I think Instagram and YouTube are probably the best place if you're, you know, looking for the reptile stuff, because I don't post very much on Facebook now other than like links to stuff on Instagram and YouTube. Yeah, it's way too political, and I just don't want to be on my feed much. Yeah. So I spend more time on Instagram and on YouTube now, and I'm trying to pump out videos for YouTube and share some good content there.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
We're gonna have to have you back again sometime.
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
Thanks for
dude.
doing it, man.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm up here enough, right?
Cool.
Boom.
Bam.
So that was way
That's a
longer
wrap.
than an hour.
A little bit longer than an hour.
Oh,
2
yeah, dude.
hours.
Fucking-
Oh no, it's
It
that's the
starts
hour
at 1, so it's
Yep.
just an hour and 5
Oh,
minutes.
Yep.
that
Yeah.
felt like it was longer. Not in like a bad way, but I looked at it and thought 2 hours was like legit. Oh, I might as well end this. We'll see you guys.
See
Oh,
ya.
let me check if there was any questions since I've ignored the chat the entire time.
There you go. The super chat's the only ones that matter.
I mean,
If you're not super chat, you're not cool.
Yeah, that's right.
mean-
That's right.
If I could check out both streams, I would. But notice he's on this stream.
Hey.
Hey, there's 1 point for me. Thank you, Jared. We're supposed to have our stream this week too. Oops, I don't know how to work the interwebs. People get to watch me be confused.
The interwebs.
Stream is choppy. Yeah, it is terrible.
Sorry.
That is Jeremy and his crappy hotspot.
Hey.
Just keep hitting retry. I'm back again. Yeah, I didn't notice because the thing was off to the side, so I didn't catch it as often. Guys, nerd in the house. Yeah, they're nerds, all right.
I'm very nerdy.
All right, we'll see you guys. I'm going to end this.
Bye, Felicia.